Let's face it, any true WoW player has to admit that they've pretty much lived in this world at one time or another. If I'm being honest, I know my way around Azeroth better than my own neighborhood. I'm not lying. And when you think about it, the real star of World of Warcraft is the world of Warcraft. It's the world itself, so massive and so vibrant. Each zone is finely crafted with its own theme, its own story, rich with lore and history. And when you've practically lived here, you tend to make a connection with some of these places. So here's a list of my top 10 favorite zones in all of Warcraft. Pandaland. If nothing else, it's certainly one of the most gorgeous places in all of Azeroth. While each zone felt unique and had something different to offer, all were deeply woven by a well-told story. Artistically, I love all of Pandaria, and it gave us some of the best music in the game's history. But my favorite zone came with the final patch of the expansion, the Timeless Isle. A lot of people accuse this place of being too small, but I say it's not the size that matters, it's how you use it. What? I'm talking about the island. You pervert. Timeless Isle might go down as one of the most significant gameplay changes in the history of this game. Rather than doing a bunch of quests, you were just running around killing things. There were people everywhere doing everything. It was insane. Big celestial battles going on in the middle. Treasure chests all over the place. Crazy Ordos guy up on the top of the mountain thingy. And then you have all these rares that are popping up and you're working together to kill them. It was amazing. I guess the size of the island did make it feel a little bit crowded at times, especially if you were on a larger server. But I love the way it made me feel like I was always working together with people rather than against them. Except for when I was on my PvP server, in which case...
Go puck yourself.
For its time, the Isle of Quel'Danas was a lot like the Timeless Isle. Not only was it an island that came with the last patch of the expansion, it kind of reinvented the game for the time. Quel'Danas brought back the beauty of Eversong Woods, which is a gorgeous zone in its own right. But it also had Legion demons running all over the place, an epic raid, an epic dungeon, and dailies. Good dailies. Hey, back then dailies weren't as abused as they were in later expansions, and I actually enjoyed these dailies quite a bit. I honestly think I spent more time in Quel'Danas than I did in all of Outlands. This one's kind of a two-parter. Searing Gorge and the Burning Steppies? These two zones are so similar, they kind of feel like one big zone to me. Kind of like Alterac Mountains and Hillsbrad. First time I took a flight path from Stormwind to Ironforge, I saw this place and I was like, whoa, I want to go here! Excuse me, Mr. Bird, could you please stop? Could you maybe stop here, please? I want off. Can we stop here? Oh, okay. Or nah. And then I finally got there and it was hard as bananas. Bananas aren't hard. Where do I go? 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 Oh, fell in the lava again. Where do I go? Where do I go? My favorite quest was always the one from the guy in the outhouse.
Hello? Anybody out there? I seem to have run out of toilet paper. If you could just get me 15 silk cloth, that'd be great.
Yeah, dude, don't worry about it. Be glad to help out. We've all been there. Wait a minute. Did you say 15? Dude, what did you eat? And by the way, where you from? The royal family? Who wipes their butt with silk? That quest was great. Kinda reminded me of a certain quest from a certain other game. So when I hear the word crater, I think of this. But when I first came to Ungoro Crater, I got a jungle? With dinosaurs, and gorillas, and bug things, and flowers? What? I liked Ungoro Crater. I never felt safe there. Felt like everything was out to get me. I mean, you couldn't walk 10 feet with about 100 mobs running after you. There really weren't any paths anywhere, so you were always running through the chaos. And apparently Blizzard decided to crank the anxiety up to full-blown panic attack when they added the roaming devil sores. Ungoro Crater. If the wildlife doesn't kill you, the heart attack certainly will. Mulgore. It's pretty. It's a big, pretty green field. I don't really have much else to say about it though, so... So the first time I came to... I'll never forget when... The Burning Crusade had a lot of... Would you excuse me for a second? Okay, so like I was saying, I remember going through the Dark Portal for the first time and I'm all... Hellfire Peninsula is pure chaos. You got fire shooting up out of the ground, demons popping up everywhere, and a sky that looks like something out of a fever dream. And what is this thing? Oh, it's a fell cannon. It's a fell cannon. Zzz. It really felt like you had stepped into hell, especially if you were an alcoholic, because doing those quests for the third or fourth time was about as close to eternal torment as it gets. Gilneas is my favorite questing zone in the game, by far. I'm sure I've played through it like a dozen times, but that's mostly because I can't seem to find a good server for my Alliance characters. Seriously, my Alliance toons need a good home. Any takers? Gilneas tells a great story of how you become a Worgen, get your humanity back, and then try and fight off Sylvanas and her army of Forsaken. My only gripe with Gilneas is that outside of the starting instance, it's just an empty zone. I mean, it's cool that you can go visit whenever you want, but why didn't they just make it a faction city for the Worgen? You never know, we might visit it in the future, but for now it just seems like missed opportunity. And speaking of missed opportunity... Most people hate Vashj'ir, and for good reason, because it's not finished. There's a lot wrong with this place, but I applaud Blizzard for trying something different, and in a lot of ways, they succeeded. A lot of people complain about navigation, but I'm visually impaired and I really didn't have a hard time with it. I mean, every now and then I had a hard time finding the entrances to the caves, but that was about it. Vashj'ir for me is by far the most immersive zone in the game, and not just because you're literally immersed in water, but just the epic size of the zone. It's almost frightening how massive it is, especially when you get into the deeper waters. Blizzard didn't get enough credit for some of the cool things they did in Cataclysm, and one of those things was teasing later zones from earlier zones. For example, in Thousand Needles when it gets flooded, if you go to where the shimmering flats used to be, you'll see a dead whale shark in the water. This was clearly them teasing the whale sharks that you would find in Vashj'ir. Aw, he's so cute. Anybody else thinks he kinda looks like Ditto? It's understandable why Vashj'ir was a big disappointment for a lot of players, but it's still one of my favorite zones. And I think a lot of that actually has to do with the fact that when I was leveling through it I had the soundtrack mod, and I switched the theme over to the Wind Waker Ocean theme. Elwynn Forest is probably what most of us saw the very first time we ever logged into Warcraft. Even though most of my time in WoW has been spent Horde side, Elwynn Forest just still feels like home to me. Northshire Abbey, the Fargo Deep Mines, the Jasper Lode Mines, Eastvale Logging Camp, Westbrook Garrison. These are all names I remember off the top of my head without having to look them up, because I spent so much time in this zone. That's how memorable it is for me, and that's why I love it so much. And who could forget the first time you ever entered Stormwind City? But the real star of the show would have to be Goldshire. I mean, I don't know what it is, but no matter what server I'm on, there are always people in Goldshire. It's seriously like a capital city all by itself. The Horde doesn't have anything like that. Look, I'll check. Razor Hill? Nope. Sinjin Village? Nope. Bloodhoof Village? Nope. Brill? Nope. Falconwing Square? Nope. Goldshire is special. And it can get kinda weird sometimes. Especially if you ever pay a visit to Moonguard. Oh, this was a bad idea. What can I say about Howling Fjord that hasn't already been said? Let's see. Howling Fjord is highly effective against fighting off gingivitis. There, that probably hasn't been said. Whenever people say that Northrend is boring because it's all gray and snowy, I always look at Howling Fjord, because it's arguably the most beautiful zone in all of Warcraft, not to mention its neighbor, Grizzly Hills. Howling Fjord did such a great job at introducing you to Northrend. You often found yourself faced off against the Vicryll, which greatly represented the savagery and harshness of the continent you were about to explore. And perhaps the best part of Howling Fjord would have to be the music. Alright, now it's your turn. What are your 10 favorite zones? Let me know by leaving a comment below. And if you like this video, let me know by hitting that like button, or perhaps the favorite button. And if you want to share it with your friends, that'd be great too. So thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. This is Kephas. Until next time.